When the door to the new cell opened, I looked up and I saw that damn lizard pain in the butt. Oh, human, you really good. I said that you would be rewarded for making me more money, but now it is time for you to make even more. Be polite and do as they say, or you will be punished for sure, and you will not see your next battle. Confused, I just simply backed up a little bit as something else came in from behind. The lizard chick left, and in front of me stood this avian looking creature. It stood maybe about 5 feet tall, and it was somewhat broad, but it was clear that it had been descended of some sort of bird. It looked me up and down, and I swear at the edge of its beak it seemed to grin. "It's a human. You human, you're human. Never seen a human. I like what I see this human. Interesting human. Human. I wonder what secrets you humans hide. Humans hide, yes. Ooh, like the humans." The thing walked up and began to reach out with its clawed arm and began to caress against me. I backed away. No, 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 no. Do not scare, human. Do not scare me. I will treat you good. Yes, yes, I will. Ooh, you treat me good. Yes, yes, yes. There was no confusion on what this thing had in its mind. I looked at it and I said, "I don't think so, buddy." "Oh, you will, human. You submit to me. Yes, yes. You have my eggs. Yes, yes, you will." "Wait, hold, whoa, huh? What do you mean have your eggs? What the hell are you talking about?" "I make you mine. You're going to be my mate. You survive next battle, then you will have my eggs." "Yes, humans strong. Humans will be mine. Humans will make my clutch strong." Whoa, whoa, whoa. Hold on a sec. You think I'm a chick? No, no, no. You not chick. You make me chicks. Do you humans not know? Oh, no, no. You humans must know. No, yes, yes. You will be part of my roost. Yes, yes, you will. Yes. It began to try and caress my leg muscles a little bit as it walked up. I began to back up even more. I was like, "Wait, hold up. What the fuck, dude? What the hell?" "Well, I not know this word that you speak, but just calm down, calm down. I be gentle with you. Yes, gentle for sure. Yes, yes, gentle for sure. Until time not to be gentle. Yes. Ooh." I was thoroughly creeped out at this point. "Dude, back the hell off. You're male, right?" "Yes, yes, of course male. Yes, yes. Male need to be here for." "Yes, so am I, dumbass." It immediately stopped in its movements. "What, you male? You how you what? But chest so strong. Only females chest strong. Only females protectors like you. Yes, yes. Only females. You lied to me. You must be female. Yes, you must be." And it continued to move up. This time it began to take off its clothes. "You deceive me. I no longer be gentle with you. Yes, yes, yes. Have pleasure. Yes, yes." I reached out and I said, "No, knock it the hell off." Knocking its arm off. "Oh, now you punish. You now be punished." It reached out and grabbed a remote. I figured it was to the collar. I was not sure how I should play this. "Whoa, hold on. Let me show you," I said. Reaching down, I undid my pants and whipped out my junk. "Does this look female to you?" I, that, wait, one, I, you, no, are humans both male, female, male? Yes, you must be. Aren't, how, why would you be, I, I understand not, what, it, The translator inside my head was still having the hardest problems deciphering this, but it was clear the guy was completely put out. I said, look, you got the wrong person. First off, gross. As I looked at it, and I looked it up and down, it's just, ugh, no, on so many levels. 2, if you go after any of the human females the way you're doing with me, I will personally turn you into fried chicken. Fried chicken? I no understand the word. No. Not fried. I not know. And then I reached down, grabbed the remote out of his hand, threw it to the ground, grabbed him by the throat with my other hand, lifted him up to my eye level. Said, listen to me, birdie in the sky. We're done here, but I swear if I hear you mistreating or taking advantage of another human, I will personally rip your head clean off your fucking shoulders. Do you understand me? As I slowly squeezed its throat shut. I could feel the cloacle in its neck begin to crack as it began to cough and wheeze. Eventually, I reached up with my other hand as I walked forward and slammed on the door. Boom, 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 boom. The door opened and I threw the bird across the hallway. This one's done with me. With that, I buckled my pants back up because I was still a bit exposed at the moment. I sat back down and just had my hand in my... It's just like, what in the hell just happened? What? It was a very short time later before the door slammed open. Human, you not tell me you... Oh, human, you deceive me. I will punish you for this. You were supposed to pleasure the one. Human, It was staggering like crazy. I was like, look, this may be custom where you are, but where we come from, this is a capital crime what you're doing. It doesn't matter anymore, human. She finally started to get her words back. You are mine now, and you will do nothing but what I tell you to. It looked at the remote on the ground. I lifted up my foot and I crushed it under my foot. Really? Now what you gonna do? The shock in her face as she reared up her hands, and as she tried to swing down, I grabbed her hand with mine. The immediate stopping motion must have hurt her a little bit because she did give a little bit of a whine. I'm guessing it's their version of a yelp. I held onto her hand and said, don't address me that way. And then I let her go. She clutched her wrist and looked at me, then looked at her wrist, looked at me. Human, you betray your master. You will not ever strike your mistress again. I will be sure of that. You will not survive. I will make my money off of your dead carcass. With that, she backed out and the door shut. I worried that they were going to gas me, but instead I was simply left in that room. It wasn't much of a room. Enough to move around and what their version of a bed was. I sat back and thought to myself, there was nothing to do. There was no sound anywhere. There was nothing. The lights were just there. Barely a window, if you call that little porthole a window. I looked out a couple times and then sat back down. And then I got an idea. Sitting down on the cot, I began to meditate the old way. The way that an ex-girlfriend had taught me to. She was really deep into this sort of thing. And I thought maybe it'll help me relax with all the crap I've had to go through. Although, man, I wish I could find a shower right now. Woof! Man, it's seriously, when you find yourself smelly, it's bad. It's very bad. Regardless of that fact, I sat back down and closed my eyes, brought my hands together, tried to calm my mind, level everything off. And once I was able to calm myself enough, I searched. I searched through my mind until I began to access it. To access that thing they had put inside my head. But it was not the only thing there. Nope. As it turned out, there was other things there. Other things they had done to me. Whatever it was, I'm guessing the organic chip or whatever, began to download all sorts of information into my mind. The fact that they had spiced us up with nanomachines, the fact that they were there simply to fight off any type of infection. It wasn't meant to keep us alive by any stretch, but simply allow us to survive and also to not infect any of the clients. Along with that, there seemed to be some sort of repository of information I could access. This must be the reason why I'm able to read the writing and understand what the hell they're saying. As I began to access more and more and more, I could see images in my mind, how each and every part of my brain was being, I don't want to say targeted, but infected, I guess you could say, with each of these different devices. It was beginning to cause a neural map in my brain. I tried to follow it, but I'm not a brain surgeon. I'm a little lost here. I understand the basic components, but once you get down to the small details, well, looks like I'd have some studying to do. Thankfully, whatever this thing was doing was also affecting my pineal gland. What it did was it not only decalcified any part of the pineal gland, but it also began to allow it to grow more nerve endings, more pathways to it. And with the more pathways to the pineal gland, more and more of my mind opened up. And with more and more of my mind opened up, more of the different devices that were in me were accessible. It was amazing. I had no idea how long I was there, but it must have been hours. Because when I finally stopped because I was so thirsty, the compulsion to drink was beyond anything possible. I went to move and it felt like I had not moved from that spot for hours. And it was not too much longer, maybe another hour or two, before the door opened and the tentacle chick came in. "Follow me," it said, and then just turned to walk away. I swear I want to slap that tentacle bitch across the face. But I did follow her. Eventually, I ended up in an area with all the other humans there, many of which were already showing signs of PTSD from being assaulted by other creatures. Apparently, the same sort of crap that happened back in ancient Rome was the same sort of crap as up here. I thought I might have been a one-off. I was praying for it, but unfortunately, the women off in the corner many of them were just holding themselves and shaking. I could see what was going on. One of them still had blood trickling down her leg. Ooh, if I wasn't mad before. A bunch of other guys were showing how angry they were by screaming and swearing and hitting the walls, but there wasn't any Xenos that they could strike out against. It wasn't long until we realized why we were all in that one room as water began to spray from the ceiling. This was a shower, and this was probably the only shower we were going to get. Immediately, many of us went, stripped off our clothes, and tried to get as much of the dirt, grime, sweat, and whatever other skunkiness we had all over us. Unfortunately, many that had the PTSD from being assaulted did not join us at all, but just stayed in the corner. And this was not limited to females either. There were a few men that were just staring, that 1,000-yard stare. They just couldn't wrap their brain around what had happened. To them, I couldn't even imagine what was going through their minds. I didn't want to either. When everything was done, the shower itself only lasted maybe 20 minutes, but I tried to enjoy the little bit I could, even though I felt bad for those that weren't able to enjoy it themselves. Eventually, we did have to pick a few of them up and bring them over to where the showers were actually spraying down. The water was not exactly warm, but it was something. Thankfully, the cold water was enough to shock a few of them back into reality, but unfortunately, they were messed up, and they were somewhat broken now. I truly felt bad for it. Eventually, the showers turned off, and nothing happened for a few minutes. Most of us wrung out any clothes we had that had gotten all sorts of wet, and then we just waited. Eventually, the doors on the other side opened. This time, it was a different type of alien, something I had not seen before. Kind of a mix between a wolf, a gorilla, and you know what? I really don't know what else, but there was something else in there. It growled at us. At first, we thought, okay, hand-to-hand combat. Apparently, that growl was simply to get our attention, similar to the same of us going, and then it said, "Now that you are clean, follow me. I will lead you to your next area." Well, we did follow him. Thankfully, the next area was somewhere where we could get food. Oh man, did we eat. We didn't even care what it was. We didn't care if it was living, dead, plant, animal, or bug. It didn't matter. We just started chowing down. It wasn't anything really sweet, and most of it was pretty damn bland, but I didn't care. I picked up some sort of alien plant, some sort of gourd, and I raised my fist and pounded on it and cracked it open. It looked, well, kind of like the inside of one of those winter squashes. Kind of tasted that way too, but not quite. Had a kind of a tart kind of flavor. But whatever, it was food and I really didn't care. From the viewports, we could see that several of the aliens were looking down on us, pointing, waving, and they were talking, but we couldn't hear them through whatever glass or polymer they were on the other side of. They all just stood over us, watching. I'm sure there were other areas where the humans that had been brought here were just being watched and bid on and whatever. I looked up at one, and it looked down at me with strange curiosity. And then I looked next to it, and there was a small little, well, for lack of a better term, demon kid right next to it. Strange purple. I wouldn't have thought about that. And just on the other side of it was another one, but this one was like a solid black. Both of them had horns at the top of their heads, but they looked very human-ish, if it wasn't for the fact that they both had collars on them. I looked up at the one next to him, and it wasn't demonish. In fact, it was very avian, very similar to the one that had tried to take advantage of me. I suddenly realized what was going on here, and I was not happy. I looked at that avian, and it kind of waved at me. I flipped them off and kept back eating. I knew if I had a chance, I was going to take that guy apart. Later on, after we were done eating, many sat down. I tried to stuff as much food as I could in my pockets, but unfortunately I didn't have much pockets to do so. We told all the others to do that because you never know when they're going to feed us again. We're slaves to them, of course. If they wanted to, they could starve us just for fun. So, of course, everyone took advantage of what food was there, shoving things like alien nuts and berries and things like that into their pockets. Eventually, after that, we were brought back to another area. This time it was just a holding area. Seems like had beds, but they were just like tables that you could sleep on. But at that point, we didn't really give a shit. We all went, and many of us grouped together. Some of us, you could tell who was prior service. As everyone else slept, we paced back and forth and back and forth. Basically old school fire guard. We kept watching over them. Many of the females we pushed towards the center. Makes them feel better to be surrounded. We made sure nobody tried to take advantage of each other either. There's always that one asshole who does something stupid. And as he crawled over and began to Dry Hump, one of the girls who was there. It wasn't me who saw him, but somebody else called out, "What are you doing?" We all saw what was going on. We grabbed the guy over, tooled him up a little bit, and then threw him over to the side. Told him he can sleep on the floor. Later on, after everybody had a few hours of rest, they brought us in to another area. We knew what this was, as the long hallway ended with that strange perforated gate. And we could hear that voice coming over the PA again. "Welcome everyone to the second day of the gladiatorial games. Our new arrivals, the humans, have shown their worth to everyone, as they have been able to survive everything we could throw at them at the first day. However, that was simply the first level for them to get through. The next level is going to be even worse, as we thought our original battle would cause more casualties. We had to look beyond our normal areas and go beyond standard pets, and we had to reach for more dangerous creatures for the humans to face. And we will not disappoint our loyal fans. As you can see by your schedule, we have a battle today of a Grangon and a Vortan. But they will not be facing each other. No, no, no. These are actually well known to each other. They have no interest in fighting against each other. They have been shown that humans are tasty, and they have been ready for this fight. In fact, let them come out." The first one was a strange ogre-looking thing, completely devoid of any hair, an actual cyclops as well. The mouth was just full of different sharp teeth. Several tusks shunk out. The thing must have stood a good 20 feet tall. It seemed to walk not only on its hind legs, which were fairly short, but its long arms as well. It didn't walk on its knuckles like a gorilla, no. Instead, it actually walked on its palms with its hands open. It stood up, and it roared to the crowd as the crowd cheered in amusement to it. It seemed to enjoy being the center of attention. The next one, I swear to you, looked like a freaking dragon. A freaking dragon of all things. The kicker is, you could see that its wings were being held down by some sort of harness. It screamed into the air with such a roar, I actually had to cover my ears, and so did most people. It seemed to give some sort of strange aroma off with its roar as well. It looked at the other one, and they just kind of stared at each other. Those of us watching were simply thinking the same thing. Oh, shit. The dragon itself, when fully extending its legs, so it stood on all fours, of course, it stood roughly about the same height. However, it stretched probably a good 40 or 50 feet from nose to tail if we stretched it out all the way. I had no idea how big the wings were as they were being held down. This thing still looked at the Cyclops-looking ogre doohickey and just kind of sneered at it. Didn't really have any malice towards it, which was kind of strange. And a lot of us started thinking, what do you mean they're used to the taste of human? And we started looking around. Weren't there more of us? Oh, you gotta be kidding me. We looked and we realized that a couple of those that had been injured before, 2 days prior, were not there anymore. Oh, those bastards. The gates slowly opened, and you could see the guards trying to push us out, but we pushed back against the guards. They couldn't get us out, as we would grab several of them and chuck them out into the arena. They landed inside the arena, and their scrawny little bodies scurried up, and they saw what was inside and immediately ran back to the opening. They had a choice: either get chewed up by those two monsters inside the arena, or they could face us, where we would simply toss them back out. But this time, they weren't playing any games. They had brought up spiked shields and they were pushing them forward. Some sort of riot gear, I'm guessing. It wasn't so fun to think about being spiked, but then again, some of us have actually had practice with riot gear and we knew what to do to actually break through. But then we realized there was something else. They weren't actually trying to push us back with the riot gear. No, they were just trying to make sure we didn't get in the way of what was really going to push us back. Immediately, they shuffled off to the side, and then something got in the way. It was a giant metal shield. No spikes or anything like that. But it simply moved forward. It was so big that it filled up almost the entirety of the tunnel itself. The only spots that were left open were where the guards had scurried off to the side. But we had no place to go. Eventually it pushed us out. And as we were finally pushed out by the fact that there was no room left, these creatures kind of looked at us and you could hear the dragon growl. The other one just kind of looked at us sideways like, what the hell is this thing? And then different types of weapons were thrown in. Different pieces of metal, things that look almost like machetes or swords. Nothing I would consider a broadsword or a gladius. A couple of shield-looking things, but they weren't exactly shields. They were garbage. Mostly what we could use was the spears. We looked over at these things, and as we started picking up any type of implement to protect ourselves, it seemed as though they were recognized by these two creatures, and the creatures got angry, and they got mean. The Cyclops ogre thing ran at us, running on all fours, and we tried to get ready for the ouch, but nobody was ready for that much mass to come running. However, as the arm landed right next to me, it wasn't just me with the idea, but everyone jabbed their spear into its arm deep enough, so deep in fact, that it penetrated from one side to the other. I could almost feel the other lances and spears going from one side to the other as it went into the arm. The ogre thing winced in pain, cried out, and landed on its shoulder as it slid to a stop, unfortunately crushing a few of us. I looked over and screamed in horror as I watched a few get crushed underneath this thing. As it held its arm in pain, I went up to finish it, but I didn't have to. One of the other men had grabbed a sword and realized what he could do, and he jabbed the sword right into the side of this thing's neck. The amount of blood that sprayed out was like that of a fire hydrant, and the pressure to match. It was enough that it actually knocked him off his feet, and he ended up covered in it, coughing and gagging, wiping it out of his eyes. But we didn't have time to laugh at him as the dragon roared and started moving its way forward. Its roar obviously put out a hell of a lot of heat, but we all formed lines. I started screaming, ranks, form ranks, form ranks. As we tried to get in line, this thing came at us, but it wasn't stupid. This thing saw what we were doing, and it tried to look for an opening. And the opening was behind us. It jumped over us. I could see that it was trying to open its wings, but as it landed behind us, its tail landed right in the middle of our formation, getting spiked several times and causing it to wince and raise its tail and whip it around. Those behind us were those that were hurt, or those that were still suffering from PTSD, and the dragon lunged towards them. It chomped down on a few of them and then raised its head and gulped down the entire bodies. However, it did not have time to enjoy this, as the rest of us, still on our feet, grabbed our weapons and shoved it right into this thing's legs, right into the thighs, and I swear one of those guys bullseyed the bunghole because this thing squealed to the sky and then fell over in pain. We all went and tried to grab whatever weapons we could and then grabbed the wounded. I grabbed a hold of two that were hurt, and I dragged them away by whatever I could. Unfortunately, one of them, by the time I got them halfway, I realized that both his legs were gone, and the amount of blood left behind, he was done. The other guy, he would survive, as he only had a few broken bones. I looked up, and the rest of the crew was busy taking down the dragon to the sheer delight of the crowd. And when the dragon finally took its last breath, we walked up to it with the crowd screaming. And I swear one of the guys grabbed a handful of the dragon's blood and then smeared on its head a cross. The man must have been giving last rites. I don't know if the man was Celtic or not. I didn't ask, nor did I care. Of course, we couldn't hear anything over the roar of the crowd as they were so grateful and delighted that what we had done, even though we had lost probably half of our numbers. Everyone realized how dangerous humans were and knew that they would be great entertainment. I lowered my head as I realized that things would only get worse at this point. Well, there you have it, folks. The undisputed champions of the arena. The newcomers, humans, have shown that they can fight and they can subdue the greatest of creatures outside of the galaxy and within. Oh, it is a wonderful day for the arena and the Colosseum. However, I do have to say that the fact that the humans have done so well, we will not be having a third day, everyone. With that, the crowd seemed to boo and be a little put back at the fact that there's only going to be 2 different events instead of 3. As it is, the humans that you see are still up for sale. They have been freshly caught and freshly branded. All you have to do is speak with their master or their mistress, and I'm sure they will give them to you at a good, reasonable price. However, I will say, make sure you have deep pockets, as these humans have shown that they can be a very big handful. With that, we kind of looked at each other, and then looked up at the one making the announcements, wherever the hell he was. Oh, we'd slap him across the face right then if we could. But we were too busy trying to patch up our wounded, using what little bit of cloth we had. I used a spear to splint one guy's leg, and he screamed in pain as I tightened down all the straps to make sure his leg stayed straight. He looked up at me and just told me to kill him. I can't live like this, man. If I knew this was it, I would have said just glass our goddamn planet. I can't do this again, man. I put my hand on his shoulder. Look, you can either do one of 2 things. You can either roll over and die, or you can fight to survive. I can't make that choice for you right now. And as I tightened him down one more strap, and he screamed in pain. For right now, I'm not letting you die. With that, I was able to tighten down the last band, and I moved on to the next injured person. It was to the point I didn't even realize that I had cut myself open. The blood had been going down my back, and somebody had noticed it. I was like, oh, well, I don't know when the hell this happened, but whatever. Dude, you're going to need stitches. Yeah, stitch me with what? Good point. With that, we tried to take our wounded back, but our sheer surprise, they sent out their own medical teams. By the time I was done with that splint, I realized that several of their own version of the medics had come out to actually fix our wounded. They weren't just tossing them away anymore. No, apparently we had proved that we were worth something. We were worth saving. I didn't know what the hell was going to come next, but who knows. I was able to carry the rest of our wounded in. And once again, through the same tactics as before, they eventually separated us to our original groups. And there I was with the last 2 of the group. Unfortunately, the guys didn't make it. There was only 2 females, both of which must have gone through some serious shit. I stood in between the mistress and those 2. Well, humans, you have definitely proven that you are worth a lot of money to me. However, you see, I don't care for your kind to be around here anymore. However, you will definitely find out that others will pay a great deal for your kind. And with that, the tentacle one came back. She looked down at the two female. You two must follow me. I turned with them, and the tentacle one put the tentacle out near my eyes. I almost slapped it away. You must stay here. You have not been sold yet. With that, the girls must have realized what was going on, and they lunged at me and grabbed a hold. I held them kind of tight, and I tried to comfort them as best as I could, but let's face it, in that situation, there was no such thing as comfort. Eventually, they brought in two fairly brawny security guards for each of the girls and tried to pull them off. One of them ended up trying to keep me back by hitting me with one of those tickle sticks. And finally, I just grabbed it and whacked him over the head with it. And just yelled, "Stop doing that!" and tossed the stick away. However, what I didn't realize is that behind me, the mistress had come up with her claws and put it right next to my neck. If you weren't worth so much to me right now, I would remove your blood from your neck and watch you squirm while you die on the ground. Now let them go. They have been sold to their new owner, just as you will be. Realizing I was in extreme disadvantage, I couldn't stop those claws if she wanted to stink them into my neck. So I told the girls to relax and just go. Try to be safe. I pet them on the head a little bit just to try and calm them down, and with that, they left. I just hoped where they were going, they would be at least find someone better than this friggin' lizard bitch. With that, I could hear a chime on one of the systems, and the lizard walked over and clicked on it. Yes! I listened intently, and it turned out that for sale of slaves, they give it off to a broker. A type of broker that makes sure that each side gets a fair shake. And if they're caught, playing favorites, it's a real quick way of becoming a slave themselves. With this broker sent some sort of file. I couldn't see it from where I was, but the lizard looked it over very, very, very carefully. And then she seemed to stand up much straighter. Oh, that is just wonderful. Tell the client that he can come and take this human away from me. I no longer wish for it here, and I will even take a percentage off the top if he hurries and takes it quickly off my hands. With that, it turned to me. Well, you have actually brought a higher price than I thought, and you will be now given to another master. I still clenched at the idea of that. I reached up and I was about to strangle the bitch, and then I could feel a tentacle on my shoulder. I flinched sideways, cocking back my hand, about ready to punch the tentacle one in the face. And then it said, "Follow me," and then turned and walked away. I swear that thing is so direct. I looked back at that lizard, and I swear that thing seemed to smile and wave. I just decided to look at her, and she didn't know what I was doing. But I remember an old sci-fi show where somebody wished death on somebody, and when they finally got that person's head on a pike, they simply waved. So I simply turned back and gave that little bitch the same wave. I followed the tentacle chick several corridors down, still trying to map out the internals of this ship. Maybe the next one will be the same. But instead, we walked into the station, and we had to go a long, long way. Eventually, we got to a tram system. I'm surprised they didn't put any bindings on me. I guess they figured if I was going to run, there's nothing I could do. But then I realized something. There was no guards. There was no much of anyone, actually. It was just one tunnel after another. And it hit me like a ton of bricks. I can't believe I didn't figure it out sooner. They're basically walking me through a secured section. I couldn't run if I tried. They just slam some security doors shut and then come in and gas me or something. Well, son of a bitch. Eventually, we got to another docking area. It was pretty clear to see that's what it was because the tone of the area completely changed. And eventually, I got onto another ship, and once again, I could feel the difference in gravity and air pressure and everything else. However, this one, it was different. Stronger, maybe. I didn't know, and I didn't really give a shit. All I wanted to know was what was going on. Eventually, the tentacle thing stopped. And then I was like, what? What do we do now? We wait, it said. It's like, wait for how long? Unknown. Great. Wonderful. I looked around and I could tell I was in another cargo area. And when I saw a few more of those bug critters going around, I could still hear them. Gotta hurry, gotta find this. Oh, God, that's going to get annoying real quick. Then finally, the new quote-unquote owner walked in. And I was absolutely shocked.